Well, New York is a vertical city. We all know that. Buildings rise high into the sky, and to keep people safe, New York City has strict rules.
Well, building facade inspections are required, but if the building is 6 stories or less, there's no government oversight, regular government oversight anyway. As Allison Caden reports, it can sometimes lead to tragedy.
When you walk down the sidewalk, how often do you look up? How often are you thinking about what a stray brick or a loose cornice can do?
It's something everyone should think about because it could seriously affect and alter your life.
It was pure luck earlier this month that nobody was killed when the cornice of this low-rise West 20th Street building broke off and thundered to the ground.
If anybody was at the bottom of that fall, they would have been dead. You know, did you see the chunks from that? You know, they were pretty bad, pretty big. So, you know, if you could, for the health of people walking under them, you know, have an inspection once in a while, maybe once a year or something.
In January, high winds tore aluminum-covered plywood off this Flushing Queens strip mall. It struck a 67-year-old woman in the head. She died at the hospital. Questions remain on whether this tragedy could have been prevented.
If you don't maintain your building, it falls apart from the inside or the outside. It's just common sense.
Wind and its effect on New York City buildings triggered a 2015 New York University Tandon School of Engineering study. The study found New York City's aging low-rise buildings are some of the most at risk for facade problems. These same buildings, 6 stories and under, are not required by New York City's Department of Buildings to undergo regular facade inspections.
This is where I should be?
Yeah.
So I don't get hit by debris.
Right.
Co-author Bud Griffiths, an NYU engineering professor, walks as close to the street as possible. This way, he says, he's more likely to avoid a stray brick. While Griffiths says the DOB has its hands full with high-rises, he thinks the city's older low-rise buildings need to be looked at.
What I would focus on is a self-inspection and hold them accountable that way.
Co-author Elham Azimi feels more strongly the city should get involved.
You have to be really careful when you're walking in New York City streets.
While our skyline highlights the city's skyscrapers, roughly 90% of the city's buildings are between 2 and 6 stories. As part of the study, Azimi walked throughout Manhattan looking at dozens of the borough's aging buildings, noticing cracks and various problems.
Low-rise buildings are not inspected at all. And definitely, you know, the facade of the buildings can tell you everything.
DOB records show thousands of violations were issued for unsafe exterior building conditions over the past few years. Owners of buildings greater than 6 stories must inspect every 5 years, and the city recently doubled its facade inspection team. But as New York City works to increase oversight and prevent tragedies, Azimi is concerned. Hundreds of thousands of low-rise buildings are silently being neglected.
And they have to inspect these buildings every 5 years at least. That's not, something unrealistic. That's something that is doable.
In a statement to Pix 11 News, the DOB says all property owners are legally required to keep their buildings in a safe condition, and any owner who doesn't will face consequences. Any expansion of our facade inspection program to buildings 6 stories or less requires legislation.
And the Department of Buildings says anyone who suspects unsafe facade conditions should call 311. And if it's an emergency, 911. The DOB says it responds to all calls. In the newsroom, Allison Caden, Pix 11 News.